Hello, everyone, and welcome to Archaeoscoop. This is the show where I am joined by Michelle Franklin, author and co-conspirator, and together we share and explore archaeological news stories from around the world. How's it hanging, Michelle?
Well, positive news stories from archaeology, history, and the cultural sphere.
Oh, you see, you say it so well. You say it so well.
If only I could put on a radio voice all the time. You're listening to Archaeoscoop.
Yeah, exactly. And we could charge premium for people to sort of listen to almost like an ASMR version of the show. That'd be fantastic.
Just
Yeah,
just random wind chimes in the background.
yeah, yeah. Waterfalls and
I mean, to be fair, we're in the height of construction. The great joke in Montreal is we don't have seasons; we just have winter and construction. And so we're in the that's an age-old joke. That's old.
okay, okay.
And so we're in the height of. So honestly, my ASMR would me going turn to page 4, and then suddenly you'd hear boop boop boop, some dump truck dumping something going on. We're actually at the end of our, if there is construction going on, because we're at the end of our construction holiday. And
Okay.
somebody asked me about that, about what is a construction holiday? And so in the 1970s, there was a politician who uh, wanted to curry favor with the working class. And
Uh-huh.
so he agreed to give construction workers a full 2 weeks that was written into the articles.
Okay.
And they could have 2 weeks during the hottest time of the year and they could have time off. And so that was very good. And so they
Right.
have it. And so now forever and ever, construction people who work in construction in all spheres are permitted to have 2 weeks off, no questions asked, paid, and in the middle of the summer. The only problem with that is that they forgot to put into law what you should do with the construction equipment and while they're on holiday. And so we've
Just
had, as always, we've had a string of noise complaints, break-ins, people taking the bricks that they've, especially here, they've left bricks that people have been smashing business windows with them, because why not? There's free bricks everywhere. And so it would be ASMR and then a ton of Marc will put in tons of smashing and broken noises right here.
yeah, yeah. It's people going uh yeah, going for the opportunistic window
Yeah.
smash. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
they left a digger like right outside my my apartment building, and they left the keys in, and I was very tempted to have a little joyride because
Yeah.
there's no barriers. You could literally just jump in the seat and enjoy yourself. But I was too chicken to do it. But anyway, in the good news stories of the week, the first story of the week for me is archaeologists found a 500-year-old compass.
Oh.
And it turns out it might have belonged to Copernicus.
Mm.
We'll see if that's really true, though.
Okay.
And the story comes to us from Popular Mechanics. And it says Copernicus developed a celestial model of the heliocentric planetary system, which he described in his landmark work, De Revolutionibus Orbium. And it was a complete overhaul of our conception of the universe, one that unfortunately drew him the ire of the Catholic Church for
Mm.
decades after his death and changed the way we look at the stars forever. And now, some intrepid amateur archaeologists may have stumbled upon one of the very humble tools that once aided Copernicus in his groundbreaking work. According to, I was going to say La Bruja, that's not what this is, that's a witch. La Brujula Verde, an archaeological exploration group called Warmińska Grupa. Uh, I apologize if I pronounce this wrong. I believe it's in Polish. Was searching in the gardens of the Archcathedral Basilica of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary and Saint Andrew
Wow.
in northern Poland, exploring the grounds of the religious site, also known as Fromburg Cathedral. The archaeologists employed ground-penetrating radar to uncover an underground chamber with 3 tunnels. It was here that they discovered a 500-year-old compass, just like the one Copernicus is often depicted holding in many
Oh.
artistic representations. Problem is, when were many of these artistic representations made, Mark?
Oh, many years after he died.
Yes, so this astounding find takes us back to the era when Copernicus made his revolutionary discoveries, remarked Mr. Scarb, a member of the archaeological organization that made this discovery, and opens up new possibilities for understanding his method of work. While there isn't direct evidence, winkety wink, linking this particular compass to Copernicus, there is certainly reason to believe that a link could exist, as biography notes. After Copernicus's studies at the University of Krakow in the 1490s, where his fascination with mathematics and the cosmos began, he received a canon cathedral appointment from Fromberg, which is where they found this.
Okay.
The canon's position afforded him the opportunity to fund the continuation of his studies for as long as he liked, biography states. Still, the job demanded much of his schedule. He was only able to pursue this academic interest intermittently during his free time, while Copernicus would later spend time at both the University of Bologna and the University of Padua. By 1510, he had returned to Fromberg, where he would develop his heliocentric theory. There you go.
So the
So was it
question,
really his?
well, that's the question. The question is whether or not it is canonical.
Oh no, he's already started. Oh God.
Yes, yes. That was a goodie. That was a goodie.
All right, I give you that one. That was pretty good. How long were you holding that in, Mark? For 5 minutes?
I have a wonderful talent for holding on to the pun and listening. Uh, but in this instance, actually, what's interesting is is this issue of, you say that there's good reason to believe that it may well be connected to him, and I cannot help but say or wonder whether the good reason to believe is that there's a fantastic opportunity to have a lovely little museum, and that sweet visitor money where you can buy your own compass from the gift shop.
I'd do it.
It's cool though. It's a cool find.
Yeah, it's a really cool find. It's great.
Yeah.
What's your first story, Mark?
Well, I'm going to start with the story that actually you brought to my attention this morning. I think it's connected with the so-called Ice Maiden of Pazuik. But I don't think it's specifically necessarily her, because the story, this is in the BBC as reported in Archaeology magazine, but they're referencing this story. Headline: 2,500-year-old Siberian ice mummy had intricate tattoos. Imaging reveals. Now, we already knew that these mummies had tattoos, and many years ago I made an in focus video about it. I'll link below to it. But in this instance, it's the intricacy and the skill seemingly required to produce these additional tattoos that's wowed researchers. High-resolution imaging of tattoos found on 2,500-year-old Siberian ice mummy had revealed decorations that modern tattooists would find challenging to reproduce, according to researchers. These intricate tattoos of leopards, a stag, a rooster, and a mythical half-lion, half-eagle creature on the woman's body shed light on an ancient warrior culture. Archaeologists worked with a tattooist who reproduces ancient skin decorations on his own body to understand exactly how they were made. The tattooed woman, aged around 50, was from the nomadic horse-riding Pazuik people who lived in the vast steppe between China and Europe. Scans revealed an intricate, crisp and uniform tattooing that could not be seen with the naked eye. Presumably not be seen with the naked eye now. I'm guessing it'd be weird to have a tattoo that you just, someone get a black light. Look at this. But
there are tattoos like that, actually. Yeah.
Yes. Well, of course. Yeah. But obviously you need the black light and etc. Or I think you can now get tattoos that respond to changes in heat as well, body heat, this kind of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah. The insights.
All we're missing now is the scratch and sniff.
Precisely. The insights really drive home to me the point of how sophisticated these people were. Lead author Digino Caspari from the Max Planck Institute of Geoanthropology and the University of Bern told BBC News. It is difficult to uncover detailed information about ancient social and cultural practices because most evidence is destroyed over time. It's even harder to get up close to the details of one person's life. In the case of the Pazyryk ice mummies, they were found in ice tombs, which sounds metal as hell, doesn't it? In
Yeah.
ice tombs in the Altai Mountains in Siberia in the 19th century, but it's been difficult to see their tattoos in detail. And I really would recommend looking at the article. There's an image here that shows what looks like a griffin taking a stag by the neck, kind of thing. So now using near infrared, digital photography in the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia experts have created St. Petersburg, Russia experts, not Russia experts, have created. I don't know anything about tattoos, but I love Russia. um, Created high resolution scans of decorations for the first time. This made me feel like we were much closer to seeing the people behind the art and how they worked and learned. The images came alive, Dr. Kaspari said. On her right forearm, the Pazyryk woman had an image of leopards around the head of a deer. On the left arm, the mythical griffin creature with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle appears to be fighting with a stag. I'd say winning with a stag, but twisted hind bodies and really intense battle scenes of wild animals are typical of the culture. But the woman also had a rooster on her thumb, showing an intriguing
It's pretty dope, man.
intriguing style, yeah, with certain uniqueness, says Dr. Kaspari. The
So
team worked.
is it on this part of the thumb here, or is it under the nail?
See, I'm not. I'm wondering if they'll actually. What? No, they've just shown. They've shown. It looks like it might be on the side of her thumb. The image is
Okay.
just the image. I think it's probably tail and then head, like that.
Oh, that's cool though.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I'm guessing because it's not entirely clear. But the team worked with researcher Daniel Ride, who reproduces ancient tattoo designs on his body using historical methods. They call this a solid commitment because he uses non-electrical techniques. He uses traditional
So
techniques.
he
He
uses
actually,
the tap method.
yeah, he's jabbing himself. And it looks like he's not doing sort of the sort of Polynesian kind of hammer tapping. It's more like a jabby because there are people who do their own tattoos who use almost like an inkwell with a needle at the bottom today, but this one looks like it's more like a pen that you dip into ink and then you sort of go back and forward. His insights on the scans led them to conclude that the quality of the work differed between the two arms, suggesting that different person made the tattoos or that mistakes were made. I wonder if could that indicate someone doing their own tattoos?
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
or maybe touching it up. People get touched up tattoos all the
yeah,
time.
but the quality on different. Yeah, if I'm
Especially
guessing,
especially if they're doing their own tattoo, it might not be very dark, and then they might
hmm,
touch it up over time.
yeah. Um, if I was guessing,
Cue the tattoo thing from I want a skull.
So, what do you want on your thigh?
I want a skull.
Okay, well, I can draw Kermit the Frog. How about a nice Kermit the Frog?
No, I want a skull.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and do Kermit the Frog.
if I am guessing, he says it was probably 4.5 hours of for the lower half of the right arm and another 5 hours for the upper part. That's a solid commitment from the person. Oh, solid commitment from the person. Imagine sitting on the ground in the steppe where the wind is blowing for all that time. He says. To be fair, they could go indoors. They're not just
They did have
yeah,
huts.
yeah, yeah. Not just sitting outside going oh, oh.
I can't finish my tattoo. I've got sand in my eyes.
Yeah, exactly. It would need to be performed by a person who knows health and safety, who knows the risks of what happens if the skin is punctured. He yeah, in that sense, infection risk, etc. By analysing the marks on the woman's skin, the team believe that the tattoos were probably stenciled onto the skin before being tattooed. Interesting. They think a needle-like tool with small multiple points, probably made from animal horn or bone, was used, as well as a single point needle. The pigment was likely made from burned plant material or soot. Okay, so they're not that far from sort of prison tattoos where ink, pen ink can be used. So if it's just dark
How many
material.
prison tattoos have you got, Mark?
I once got cornered and It's on my ass. No, no. People from this work sheds light on an ancient practice that's very important for a lot of people around the world today. Interestingly, I recently learned something about I think Maori tattoos, possibly Polynesian tattoos as well, where early photography didn't capture the tattoo. So there are photos from the 19th century of native peoples with face tattoos, where the tattoo, my understanding is, didn't react to or wasn't picked up by the plate photography that they were using. So you have photos of people back then who look untattooed, and sometimes people.
Oh yes, I remember this. I remember. So
Yeah,
it's the green and blue
yeah,
facial tattoos didn't come out.
no,
So they don't look necessarily tattooed, but they are. Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
exactly. And it was
exactly.
only when they got restored, those photos got restored, that they were able to see. Yeah.
Precisely, and it's led to very unfortunate conversations from people trying to say, oh well, these modern folk, in say the Parliament in say New Zealand, with facial tattoos, they're just doing it to get attention. It's like no, it's not that they didn't
Oh
do
no,
it
we
once,
do
now they
have we
do.
do have early photos
Yeah,
of Polynesian peoples with
with
face
them.
tattoos.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's just some of them didn't come out depending on the ink used. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So in that sense, yeah, the tattoo, the material that's used, the imaging technology, all of it comes into play. And in this instance, it seems that yeah, near infrared photography has really done an excellent job here. They finally say here it suggests that tattoos were really something for the living, with meaning during life, but that actually didn't really play much of a role in the afterlife, in so much as the tattoos appear to have been cut or damaged when the body was prepared for burial,
Okay.
which is also interesting. Yeah.
Hmm. That's
And I
interesting.
suppose an analogy there might be how you sometimes see, well, you hear about it in lots of different cultures, but I'm thinking about the Iron Age, for example, early medieval period maybe as well in Britain, where you sometimes find burials where swords have been deliberately bent or spears have been shattered or whatever, with and go into the ground with someone almost in a sort of
So that
sense.
nobody else can use it.
Well, nobody else can use it, but also I think it's because the thing is you can reuse the metal. You see what I mean? But I think it well, it's been suggested, and I'm skirting very close to saying ritual here. It's been
I'm
suggested.
waiting for the alarm.
No. It's not happening. It's been suggested that in that sense, the sword and its deeds, its character, its
Hmm.
personhood, is attached to the person who's died, and so not, one cannot exist without the other. So it's interesting, this idea that maybe tattoos were similar. Live tattoos were living, and I suppose they are. They're living art. Lots of modern tattoo artists love the fact that their art is alive, don't they? Hmm. Uh, would you ever get a mythical tattoo?
You mean the one I have right here?
Oh, of course, yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about mythical? I mean, this one is a reproduction for those who are only listening. I have on the inside of my left arm a reproduction of it's not an exact, but in a century uh, depiction of a werewolf. And then it
Oh,
says
cool.
Fela in Ochem, correctly done up the right way. But again, that's not, it's just to honor the stories of the werewolves of Ossory. And then I have, if you want to say it's mythical tattoo, I have the Lord of the Rings, the Tree of Gondor, but it's a
Nice.
mixture of the first and the third age tree with the stars and the crown
Okay,
on
cool.
my back. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Um, yeah, well, obviously I won't talk about my prison tattoo. So what's your second story?
Scientists found a 520 million year old miracle, a
Up,
fossil
up,
with
up, up, up,
brains.
up, 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 up. Are you about to talk about dinosaurs?
No.
Okay, go on.
Well, actually, maybe,
It,
but
fine.
it's not a full dinosaur.
Okay.
It's just it's the fact that it was found with is that we don't do
Mm-hmm.
dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you
Mm-hmm.
go. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
sorry. Okay, yes, I am about to talk about prehistoric anatomy. Fossil found with brains and guts intact. That's the
Nice.
point. It's not the fact, it's not the dinosaur, it's not the we're not talking about a new discovery of a dinosaur. It's that the fossil was found with the actual brains in it,
Uh-huh.
which is pretty crazy.
That is cool.
And so we know what fossils look like, for example. And so this one comes to us again from Popular Mechanics. Typical dinosaur fossils. We don't do dinosaurs. Our bones to stone preserved from the passage of time located. And so now, not all fossils are like that. Some are just impressions of small creatures. See, so not always dinosaurs, Mark.
No,
Ahem.
no.
Or animals left in rocks.
Yeah.
But most have something in common. It's the hard stuff left behind, with the exception of those found in environments particularly adept to preservation. The soft tissues degrade over time, as is natural, and we're left with the stony bone. But not always. Sometimes we get lucky, like today, when a team located a fossil 520-year-old worm larva, not dinosaurs, Mark, worm larva that still had its brain and its guts
Nice.
intact. So still the juicy bits still around. It's always interesting to see what's inside a sample using a 3D imaging, says Catherine Dobson, one of the co-authors of the study, centered on this remarkable find in a press release. But in this incredible tiny larva, natural fossilization has achieved almost perfect preservation. That almost perfect preservation made the specimen an absolute goldmine for evolutionary biologists. According to the press release, which the structures observed within the creature, which were studied via 3D images, generated from scans made using a technique known as synchrotron X-ray tomography, include a brain, digestive glands, a primitive circulatory system, ooh, juicy, and even traces of the nerves supplying the larva's simple legs and eyes, ooh, proto-eyeballs.
Yeah.
The incredible amount of detail preserved in this ancient fossil showed scientists that we had previously dramatically underestimated the complexity of early arthropods. There you go.
That is very cool. That is very cool.
And it's not about dinosaurs, Mark.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't have to tap the sign.
Don't make me tap the sign.
My second story actually is an interesting headline from the get-go because I'm not sure it's accurate. So this is the headline: Two sisters and a newborn with their dog were sacrificed in a Neolithic flint mine more than 6,000 years ago.
Well, were they sacrificed, Mark?
That's a good question. That's a good question. And we'll have to keep the awooga ready.
Get the druids on the phone.
Yeah.
We didn't do that.
A Czech team, we're going to check this. Czech team researchers discovered the skeletons of two women and a newborn buried more than 6,000 years ago. See, that one says buried. More than 6,000 years ago in a flint mine in the Krumlov forest in southern Moravia in the Czech Republic. The study, published in the journal Archaeological and Anthropological Sciences, and it's open source, so do feel free to download the PDF, folks at home, reveals that the women were probably sisters and had suffered a life of hard labour and illness. Researchers believe that their burial in the mine may have been part of a ritual linked...
It's ritual!
linked to ancestors or a human sacrifice. The Krumlov forest...
We're going to have another sacrifice alarm, and it's going to be a druid wearing a green man mask. Just comes in from the side. Mark's going to make it.
Yeah.
Comes in from right over here on the side. It just goes, but did I really do that? And then just leave.
I don't know, Daisy. The Krumlov forest has been known since the 19th century for its abundant flint deposits. The rock, also called chert, most commonly used in prehistory to make tools. Systematic excavations in the forest began in the 1990s and uncovered one of the largest mining areas in Europe, exploited from the Mesolithic to the Iron Age. Huge amount of time. Among the hundreds of pits found, number 4 held a macabre surprise. 2 female skeletons, one with a newborn, lying on her chest, accompanied by the remains of a small dog. The 2 women were between 30 and 40 years old and were remarkably short for their time.
That's not fair.
Measuring about 1.4 to 1.48 and 1.46 meters. respectively.
So it's about 4.5 feet.
Yeah, thereabouts. I think, yeah. And
Sorry for all the Americans in the audience.
showed signs. Well, to be fair, we do that here. You know, I don't actually know what 1.48 meters actually is, so I'll put it up on screen for measuring people. We use feet. And showed signs of childhood malnutrition, although in adulthood their diet was rich in meat, something unusual for Neolithic populations in the region, in so much as Neolithic populations tend to rely on farming, so you expect to find grain, dairy, so on and so forth. Marks on their bones, such as worn vertebrae and poorly healed fractures, reveal a life of extreme physical effort, probably related to mining. Makes sense. Genetic analyses confirmed that the women were related and possibly sisters, and provided surprising details about their appearance. One had green or hazel eyes. Oh, I like that. One had green or hazel eyes, while the other,
Yeah, like whatever.
yeah, while the other, with 90% probability, had blue eyes. Surprisingly, the newborn was not the child of either woman. A mystery that researchers have not been able to solve. I mean, I'm guessing, but I think the baby came from another woman.
Mark, how dare you? You need some evidence for that.
Yeah.
Did you look in the caves? Did you see?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, indeed. You can't say that. No,
Did you open up the winking eye of God and did it blink back to you?
I can only presume that the child came obviously from elsewhere. A mystery that researchers have not been able to solve. It cannot be ruled out, though, that the child died during the same period as these two sisters, they note. Although his
But then
presence...
why does it have to be ritual? Do they know that they were killed in a ritual killing? Maybe they just all died and were buried together.
Yeah, and that's the thing, actually, because died is very passive, isn't it? Sacrifice is very active.
Yes.
So did the child, who is a baby, volunteer? I doubt it. If it's a
Or
sacrifice.
do they have any sacrificial marks on them? Were they all cut in the same way?
Bone pathologies tell a story of suffering in which both women endured childhood illnesses, evidenced by interrupted growth lines in their bones, and in adulthood bore chronic injuries. One of them had poorly healed fracture in the elbow, indicating she continued working despite the injury. Their spine showed signs of premature arthritis and herniated discs, probably from working while bent over and extracting flint. The combination of spondylosis,
Spondylitis?
that's the one, and osteophytes indicates excessive spinal stress during their lives, the report explains. There's a diagram actually of the pit, which is quite interesting, and it's interesting in so much as they're not. There's space between them, so they're not occupying one layer.
Oh, they're not in the same layer. Okay.
No, well, I mean, they may well be in the same context. Which
Okay.
does what I mean, but they're not. They haven't been laid to rest next to each other by the look of it. Even if you look at it in different orientations, yeah. Sacrifice or funeral ritual? Asks the article. The burial site does not seem to be a coincidence. A mine that was active for millennia and may have held sacred significance for Neolithic communities. The forest became a sacred landscape. Okay. Allowing contact with the underground world of the ancestors.
Do we know that?
I'm not sure. I mean,
I've been holding back from going, and they call it a mine. But
Yeah.
honestly, now I'm listening to this the part about the grove. Like, how do we know that was a sacred space? Is there actually a sacred grove there? Did they have an altar there? Did they have any kind of did they eat there? Are there any middens? Is there anything there that would show that was a sacred space to them?
Yeah, and actually there are situations where, for example, we know that in parts of South America, conquistadors observed locals behaving in ritualistic ways about the mines because they were taking stuff from under the mountain. But that's something that is difficult to evidence unless you observe it. So I get there's lots of sort of touchy-feely. This is why prehistorians get a bad name, because they sort of go, oh, it's so
It's
spiritual.
ritual.
Yeah, it's ritual. Ah! Exactly. The authors suggest that the women may have been buried there as part of a ritual reconciliation with the earth, perhaps as offerings to ensure the prosperity of the excavations.
Where they could have just died in the mines.
They could have. They could have died as the mine was being decommissioned. They thought, okay, well, let's lay them to rest here. They may have loved that mine. Who knows? And just been later. Anyway, another darker theory suggests that they were forced labourers. The rise of the patriarchy in the Neolithic may have led to the harshest jobs falling on those who could be forced to perform them, the text notes.
It's funny the way that they suddenly throw that in. Because first they're talking about the mines. Then they're like, oh, it might have been a sacrifice, but then don't talk about any sacrificial signs or marks on the bodies, which is weird. And then they said that the grove space was sacred. No evidence of that either.
Yeah.
And now they're like, the patriarch.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of assumptions there. First of all, that there was a shift from matrilineal to patriarchal societies. There's something that we do sort of see-ish in some parts of the Neolithic. That said, though, at sites like Lipensky Vir, on the Danube, I think, we definitely see actually a shift away from men when women from farming societies start to marry into hunter-gatherer society. So it's not always in that direction. But then also there's this question of, why does patriarchal society mean that the harshest jobs would be forced on people who could be forced to do them? Why is that just in this new societal form and not in the previous one? Isn't that...
I also noticed that they didn't say the sex of the baby.
They did, actually. They did.
What was it?
It's a boy. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So since the baby is a boy, why are they suddenly assuming that it has anything to do with patriarchy just because the two girls died?
Yeah.
Again, it's weird that there's no actual evidence of sacrifice. There's no like marks or anything. That like I said, they go into that whole thing about the grove being sacred, which we don't know. There's no evidence of that.
Sacred
and then they're
forest,
like, oh,
yeah.
the patriarchy. But then the baby is a boy.
And in that sense, you can't simultaneously have, in that simple dichotomy, you can't simultaneously have a dark sort of just throw him in the mine burial and also have a boy laid to rest, a little baby whose potential has not yet been figured out later. And the reason why I say that is that what we see in, for example, Mesolithic burials sometimes are instances where even neonatal remains can be found with the accoutrement of what they might have ended up being. So I'm thinking about a baby maybe found with a dagger that might have become a hunter or something like that, and they're sort of mourning the loss of that. So there's two different ideas that are clashing there, and also as well, you don't have to be patriarchal to have forced labor and slavery.
So is that why it's the patriarchy, Marc? Because they took the dagger away from him? Was it the patriarchy?
Possibly. Who knows? The rise of the patriarchy in the Neolithic may have led to these harshest jobs being given to the people who could be forced to do them, they suggest. To reconstruct their faces, scientists used forensic anthropological techniques, creating hyper-realistic busts that are now on display at the Moravian Museum in Brno.
I too have a hyper-realistic bust.
Hey!
So do you, Marc, technically. We all do have a hyper-realistic.
This is true. The cause of death could not be determined, the team admits, but their burial in the mine opens a window into beliefs and social organizations in Europe's early farming communities.
So was it a sacrifice then?
We can't say. No. It opens window to, insert brackets, rampant speculation about the beliefs and social organisations. It's interesting. It is interesting in so much as the mine is not a funerary site. It's not a mass burial or a memorial that is typical to the archaeology of the Neolithic in that area. So it is interesting. But I don't think, based on this article, maybe the paper has more in it, that the evidence is conclusive in any particular direction. Yeah.
So now that was nice and depressing,
Uh-huh.
a special story
Woohoo!
that actually is fun and nice, and unfortunately does have to do with dinosaurs. Yay!
Oh.
But it is a happy story in a world of crap. It is a happy story, and so I
Okay.
thought we should have a nice little bonus, just a little bonus.
Okay.
Japan, of course, is dinosaur crazy. Fukui is known as the dinosaur prefecture and has an absolutely mental dinosaur museum. It's just absolutely incredible. And they've
Didn't
also
you
opened.
stay at a dinosaur hotel?
Oh, I stayed at the Henna Hotel, which is run by dinosaurs, but that's all that is. So it's dinosaurs and emperor hats, and they're
Very
lovely.
cool.
And they welcome you to the hotel. But the also Junglia, which just opened up in Okinawa, which is again it's a whole dinosaur theme park. But that's not the news. The news is Japan's first university faculty of dinosaur studies has
Oh,
opened.
okay, that's nice.
Yes, people around the world are fascinated by dinosaurs and the prehistoric world in which they lived. In Japan, the country's first university faculty dedicated to dinosaur studies was inaugurated this spring. Researchers in the field say their work can help solve a variety of challenges facing humankind. So Japan's dinosaur kingdom, which is Fukui Station. One of the things that passengers see after getting off the bullet train at Fukui Station, several life-size replicas of dinosaurs, and yes, some of them move. There's the famous Tyrannosaurus and a Triceratops. Other creatures carry the Fukui names, such as the Fukui raptor, the Fukuisaurus, and the fossils of 3 species were found in Fukui Prefecture in central Japan, known as Japan's Dinosaur Kingdom. But now you can major in dinosaur studies. So Fukui Prefectural University opened the Faculty of Dinosaur Paleontology, which is not archaeology, but it is in this sphere, Japan's first faculty of its kind in April. It received a lot of interest from applicants, and who doesn't want to major in dinosaurs? It'd be amazing. And competition to gain admission was fierce. The pass rate was 1 in 7 in the first round of selection, and 1 in about 27 in the second round. So you gotta really know and love your dinosaurs if you want to be there. The inaugural class consisted of 34 students from across the country, from Hokkaido to Okinawa. There you go.
That's really, really good. And also, it's a nice story about academia embracing specialization as opposed to generalization.
And actually, the best part of this with Marc is it's the photo that they've included of the faculty studies department with the faculty head. And Marc will put this on the screen. So it's a picture of it looks like a Fukui raptor. And he's like this, and he's holding the smaller skull of another, and he's dressed in a very nice little white suit.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
He's ready for university.
Yeah, nice. No, that is lovely. That is lovely. So yes, we'll let that dinosaur.
Even though we don't do dinosaur.
No. In this instance, it's open the door, get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur. Mario movie, the good one.
Well, I think the best Mario dance that we know is doing the Mario, Marc. Do the Mario.
Yeah.
Swing your arms from side to side.
Do the Mario! Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario!
Of course, only beaten by the Zelda commercial. It's so good. That dance is amazing. Right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Do comment below if you have any stories that you'd like us to take a look at. Of course, comment on how amazing Ramen Shark is, and how
he was here for the whole duration, and he's actually like Ratatouille, where he controls what I say.
what you say and think. Exactly, precisely. When it comes off, she's a whole different person. She sounds like she's from I don't know, some weird place.
Yeah, I take him off, and then suddenly, oh no, Ma, I couldn't possibly. So, shall I have a bit of cake today? I think I shall.
There you go. Some sort of weird Dickensian. Yes, it's an odd one. Um,
We should be very happy to visit with Raptor Shark again.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
but yes, comment below if you have any stories that you'd like us to take a look at. Of course, do check out Michelle's YouTube channel, where there's always interesting commentary, conversation, and discussion about myths, mythology, language, and history.
And people getting really angry in the comments. Please contribute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, of course, as ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.